Welcome back to the program. Glad you're here for the conversation. My next guest is loud and proud, to say the least, Grant Cardone, CEO of Cardone Capital, Cardone Training Technologies, Cardone University, which I watch pretty much every day with my team now. It's part of our business training. I've gotten to know Grant pretty well over the last year. Grant, welcome back to the program.
Always good to be with you.
Nice to see you here. I want to ask about a couple of things you've put up on X here in the last few days. You don't seem to be a big fan of Jerome Powell, and I bring that to your attention because you are in the real estate business primarily. And when interest rates are high, being in the real estate business is a little slower. And it would seem to me that Jerome Powell, that fancies himself as nonpartisan, continues to play politics. Look, the interest rates should come down because the inflation rate's 2.4%. Where am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Jerome Powell is an extension of those that want to punish the middle class and those that are anti-Trump and don't want to see progress in America first, period. End of story, like dead stop or full stop, as you say in your business, not a dead stop. And look, if you look back to COVID is invisible, okay? The vaccine, the response, where it came from, all these things are invisible. When that finally wore off with the American public, then came the threat of inflation. Now, inflation was temporarily very, very real to a lot of people,
Sure,
but it was not because of banking or money or even printing. It was because of the supply chains had been jammed up for so much time, and people that wanted automobiles that had chips were willing to pay extra money for those. That problem is long gone now, okay? Now, the Democrats have been selling this inflation thing since they got done selling the COVID thing. And Jerome Powell is still talking about inflation when we are so far beyond this.
We really are.
Yeah, we're so far beyond, it's unbelievable.
You know, they keep selling that. They keep selling the Green New Deal, which has been an absolute abject failure on no matter what your metric is, jamming up American energy and productivity, and you couple it with high interest rates. I mean, that's stifling to the economy, period, right?
Yeah, well, but most importantly, Jerome Powell is hurting the middle class, the people that need to sell their home and go buy a new home. Can't do it because they're sitting on a 3% interest rate. That was the Trump era. And now having to look at a 7% mortgage rate. Home sales in this country are the lowest since 2008. That's almost 17 years.
And 2008, of course, was the great economic collapse. 2008 and 9. We were at the bottom of the market, right?
Exactly. And we're back to that today because mortgage rates are so high. And that is all on Jerome Powell, by the way. And this is why today Trump came out and called him a fool. He is a fool. But more importantly, kind of like the state of California, this is not incompetence. This is intentionally trying to undermine the Trump administration and America first and the middle class. The middle class is paying the price. If you're in the middle class, and by the way, I am a spokesman for the middle class. That's where I came from. It is a great 250 million strong in this country that are being punished by the central bank and the Fed getting involved in your money.
Yeah, every day, meddling in our money, creating roadblocks and hurdles. Look, I know you're an optimist. I've seen you on the stage with some incredible people, whether it's Jimmy John or Martha Stewart, whatever. I've seen some great people around you. You are surrounded by optimists that have beaten the odds and become uber successful. But what about business today? Would you start a business in America today if you're 20 years old and you've got some gumption, you've got some go? Are you an optimist about America today, even despite these things?
Yeah, I am an optimist. Okay, if you're great, you're always going to be great. And if you're a master at your game, then you're always going to be paid extra to be a master. Everybody below great and mastership, though, I mean, if you're not going to learn how to be a sensei in the game you're doing, whether you're in the restaurant business, the plumbing business, chiropractor, dental, whatever it is you're doing, if you're not going to be a master of the game, you're going to be replaced by somebody that is, or you're going to be replaced by AI, something that's cheaper. Yeah. So I would not recommend to somebody to go start a business today. I'd go crawl into a business that is embedded and moving and successful, or I would go buy businesses that are failing that you can put better management in.
And run them properly. All right, fair enough. I knew you're an optimist, but I just wanted to give, we talk about a lot of things on this program that are serious. Sometimes we got to give them a little bit of cheerleading and say, look, it's okay. You can still make it in America. Just go out there and bust your ass. You can get it done. And that's an important thing to tell people.
Yeah.
People need to hear that.
Yeah, but I'm inherently, I'll tell you, I am inherently pretty negative, pessimist person. I'm not a very positive person, but that's why I work so hard. I push hard because I expect for the government to tax me, for the Fed to print money, and for my competition to do something very bright. I'm not the smartest person in the economy or in the marketplace, so I know I need to work harder. I'm completely committed to my success. I'm obsessed with it, have been since I was 8 years old. I highly recommend people become addicted to success. It's the only addiction that pays off all the time, by the way.
Yeah. Speaking of government interference, I want to foreshadow something we were talking about just before you came on. And that is the rumblings in the state of California. You have the last house standing on Malibu Beach. It was singed by the fires. It was not leveled. Very fortunate for you, obviously. But you're hearing rumblings now that those beaches in Malibu, including your house potentially, may be taken by the government under eminent domain. And it's just rumblings and rumors and so forth. But that's very concerning. What are you hearing?
I got a phone call yesterday from a guy that sells trillions with a T of insurance premiums per year worldwide. He's actually covering my home, okay, and along with a 15,000 unit portfolio that we cover with him. And he says, Grant, are you hearing anything about eminent domain on the coastline? And I said, no, I haven't heard that yet. What are you talking about? And he's like, we're hearing the first rumblings from property owners that are trying to get covered, that nobody can understand. Why is nothing being done? Why is the beach not being picked up? Why haven't the bore samplings and environmental stuff been done? Why are only 4 permits been approved in 4 months? And those 4 permits, by the way, Steve, were done before the fires. So they were already in place. And the talk is now that the state of California is planning to seize the coastline in Malibu.
Yeah, we just did a little math here before we came on. 21 miles, according to ChatGPT. 21 miles. Now, they might not take it all at once, but what's a mile of coastline worth in Malibu, California?
Well, what's it worth? Who knows?
Right. I mean, it's astronomical.
But this is what I've been saying for I don't know, 4 months now. You cannot have this much incompetence in one place consistently. This has to be intentional. You can't be this stupid this consistently without it being intentional, meaning many of these homes have been sitting there 40 and 50 years made of timber. There's 8,000 fires that go through California every year. 8,000 fires every year for the last 800 years or ever since they've been clocking fires. And when your house is made of timber roof, tinder floors, tinder exterior, and fire hits it, it burns.
Now, Grant, hold on. I want to jump in right there for just one moment. If you're intrigued by what you've heard so far, go to grantcardone.com. Learn about business, learn about real estate, learn about the state of California, and Grant that might run for governor. We would just want to put a little hard stop in here because the rest is going to be available after the break or on YouTube at grantcardone.com. All right, this is the Steve Gruber Show. We're continuing now with Grant Cardone. All right, so these timber houses, because the other thing that we've been hearing, Grant, in California is this. All those houses were wiped out, 50, 60, 80-year-old houses, family homes, maybe could be rebuilt for millions of dollars. The insurance is never going to cover it. The families that lived there could never afford to rebuild. And so the government's going to take those properties as well. And they're not going to build single-family homes. They're going to go up. They're going to build apartments and townhomes and all sorts of things under eminent domain and cash in.
Yeah, they probably won't build anything there. Okay, they probably won't build anything on that coastline. They'll keep that vacant and move everybody.
I'm talking about off the coast, back in these communities. These people can never rebuild. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you have a couple issues. One, this is a coastline grab, right? If they're going to land grab the coastline, which would make sense, they would probably keep that vacant. And basically, they would use the cover like they always do in California. They use the environment as everything. So they'll start doing bore samplings. This is what I predict will happen. They'll do bore samplings and say it's it's uninhabitable. The beach is uninhabitable. Warning signs up and down the beach. They're going to test the water and prove that it's terrible to be there for the good of the people of California. It's always done for the good of the people.
Isn't it though?
Okay.
Yeah.
We are going to just offer you a price and you need to leave your property. This will push people inland and or outside of the state of California, which is clearly the agenda in California for the last 20 years.
But why?
They have been pushing people because, bro, look, it's a land grab.
Yeah.
Get rid of the successful, get rid of the noisy people like me.
Yeah.
10xcalifornia.com, by the way. That's where we're actually getting people to have voices again. Push people, including their companies. Elon's left, Phil Mickelson's left, Chevron, Toyota. I can just go over a list of 25 companies. Palantir left. Push them out. Bring in the homeless. They can't defend themselves. They have no place to live. They can't fight. Okay, give them things. Replace the good with the bad. Okay, the rich with the poor. We own the state again, and we can do whatever we want.
And develop it however they want and restrict it however they want and just have complete government control, which is kind of their dream, isn't it? Which brings me back to what I mentioned before the break there. You've toyed with the idea, I don't know how seriously, of running for governor of the state of California for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Democrats think they're invincible. I don't know how you could run a state so poorly into the ground. I mean, California might be the greatest piece of single real estate in the world, collectively.
100, it is, dude.
Agriculture, coast, timber, incredible national parks, all of it, right? You've got it in spades, and yet it's been run into the ground. I mean, the Democrats have been completely incompetent. How they could feel invincible is beyond me, and so maybe there's an opening there, and somebody that would have to be self-financing, that would be somebody like yourself, that can also attract other big donors, which would also be somebody like yourself. Is it a serious consideration to run for governor of California?
Well, it becomes more serious when I see who is running.
Okay.
Dude, it's like, wait a minute, okay? Like, if you look at the list of Democrats that are attempting to throw in their hat, I'm like, this is just more of that. But what's different now is that the people have woken up. The people that have been voting Democrat for years, consider themselves progressives and liberals, are now starting to get fed up with, this is ridiculous. My house was taken. Your neighbor's house was taken. Okay, they can't clean up their own debris. COVID lasted too long. You shut the schools down.
What?
You took $38 billion for COVID and we can't find a penny of it. Okay, we had a homeless problem. Sorry, Steve, but this is very important. We had a 3 million homes short, and you let 2.8 million people in to the state in 1 year that don't have homes.
So now you're 5.8 million short.
Exactly. In 1 year, by the way. That's not counting 23 and 24. So this is continued. So the blue are starting not to be, they're not fringy.
Well, in addition, if I'm not mistaken, Grant, not only did you let them in without a place to stay, they started getting free government checks. The checks started going out.
They're getting a check while the property owners can't get a check. They have insurance while the property owners can't get insurance. They're paying no taxes while the business owners and the earners are paying the highest taxes. The homeless have a place to live and the homeowners don't, bro. Like, the blue is finally starting to say, wait a minute, maybe this red thing ain't so bad. Okay. The second thing is, no offense to my Republican friends, but bro, the people that have put their, and I say bro because it's like a street thug, like, bro,
yeah,
duh. Like, the people that are throwing their hat in the ring right now, I'm like, if you don't have a movement, you don't need a leader. So that's why we started 10xcalifornia.com. I've been going there doing rallies across the state. I'm about to go back there. We're going to do rallies for 90 days to see if we can waken up the voter and say, wait a minute.
Let me put it this way. You talk about
do you want your state back, or do you want Kamala back?
Well, yeah, you want Kamala Harris to be your governor or whomever else, but you look at the voices of the Democrat Party: Jasmine Crockett, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris. You don't want that, right? Nobody wants it. But so this brings me back to what you said, though, bro. If not you, Grant, then who is the Republican that could step up and run? Because nobody comes to mind for me. Is there a Republican that's capable of winning statewide that you would support?
Well, you need somebody that's brazen. This is what I would look for: somebody brazen, somebody transparent, somebody that has no like they have no allegiance with any group. They can't be compromised, and they would have had a successful record in business, in running something with a budget. And look, all this is going to start with somebody that is not so connected politically. Anybody with a political, if you have a political history at all, you should not be allowed into politics in the state of California.
I can't argue with that across the country in many ways. These people are, I mean, you look at the Congress of the United States, the Senate, it's an old folks' home. For God's sake, half of them should be in hospice at this point. It's embarrassing. You had a woman from Texas in Congress who disappeared for 6 months. They found her in a nursing home in Houston, and her staff told nobody. We can't run a railroad that way, can we? You can't run anything.
Well, California, you can't run anything, much less a railroad. So.
Right. You can't run anything. All right, so you successfully dodged the question, but I think you said you're going to go do rallies. You're going to check for viability then and consider the possibility.
No, I'm not checking for viability. I'm checking for interest in change. Like if there's no interest in change, if the state of California, if the 11, 12, 13 million people that vote there every year, if you guys aren't pissed off, you deserve more of what you get. Unfortunately, the problem is all of America is going to have to pay the price for the complicity of the state of California voters.
Yeah.
If you guys just keep waking up every morning saying, this is what we pay for, so keep giving it to me. Give it to me again. Come on, one more time. I like it, okay? If the state of California is like, just give it to me one more time, the weather's so good I can continue to take it. But the reality is, Steve, the state of California has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
The number one of which, can you even get people back?
Well, that's a good question. But it is the best piece of real estate. Let me ask you, I know you got a couple minutes left here. I just want to get to this. I know you've gotten to know Donald Trump over the last couple of years as well. You were one of the folks on the stage at Madison Square Garden. That was a huge celebration just before the election. I really enjoyed it. I was there covering it for the networks and so forth. What do you think? Do you like the tariffs? Do you like the trade policies? I know the UK has come to the table, first big domino to fall. They've signed car plants coming to Indiana, another one coming to Arizona. Apple's bringing some big operation to Detroit. That's always nice to see. Overall, what do you think about Donald Trump's second term so far?
Well, look, I understand the tariffs, and the people that disagree with them just simply don't understand them, okay? The tariffs are a negotiating tool. He's using the thing that is most threatening to every one of these countries. It's better than a war. It's an economic war. It's a threat, not of a nuclear weapon, but of a financial weapon that says, hey, if you don't start acting right, we're going to penalize you to sell goods in this country economically. These countries are not in a position to pay the price. So they're going to come to the table. He's going to cut a deal. The deal includes many, many more things than what you're being told to the public. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, most of America has no clue what's happening when things are being negotiated, but it's not always the thing that's being negotiated. In this case, the tariff. Yeah. He's going to make America first. He wants to get goods and services back being manufactured in this country. He wants to bring jobs back here. And to me, that sounds like America first. Even the damn Canadian Carney came out and said,
yeah,
Donald Trump is transformational, and he's for the American economy first, and I can't blame him for that.
And for the record, yes, we will take Alberta when they leave the country. We'll accept them immediately. There's no question about that. Grant Cardone, always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. I'm going to keep an eye on 10X California. For the rest of you, you can go to grantcardone.com as well. You can find out about Grant, his business instruction and real estate instruction. It's all top shelf, best there is. I appreciate it, Grant. Always good to talk to you, my friend.
Always good to be with you.
There you have it. Grant Cardone, everybody. We'll wrap it up right there and leave it right there.